Just going for it, just jump right in.
I guess we're recording right now, so...
Okay, well, welcome to the first ever podcast that either of us have ever done.
Number one.
I am Jeff Spratt.
I'm Ryan Tukowski.
And this is the Ryan and Jeff podcast. I mean, we don't even have a name. We literally just hit the record button.
Yeah.
Like, all right, let's just jump in. We've never done this.
I was going to call it Conversations with Spratt, but then my name's not really in it, but I guess it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter.
We can think of a name at a later date.
Maybe a name will come from this podcast. Who knows? So we are currently in Croatia. This is the culmination of 4 years of planning.
Beautiful.
I came to Croatia for the first time 4 years ago. Told Ryan about it, and we have been plotting and scheming to make this happen for 4 years now. And here it is. He just arrived last night, and yeah, here we are.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we should talk about like why we've been doing this podcast. I mean, we've been talking about it for a while, and we've been putting it off, and finally, since we're here together traveling around, we figured now is a better time as any to start.
We haven't actually even seen each other for...
I think it's been over a year. I mean, I think the last time you saw me when you were out in California.
That was 2 years ago.
Was that 2 years ago?
I find it hard to believe I haven't seen you in 2 years. I feel like there might have been a Christmas reunion somewhere thrown in there, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, I saw you yesterday, and it was like I saw you yesterday.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we have that relationship where we haven't seen each other in years, but once we come back together, it's like, you know, we haven't even left.
Haven't skipped a beat. So just to give you some context, if you don't know Ryan and I or our relationship, we are friends from the University of New Hampshire. We played on the club baseball team there, which is the only baseball team there. So we were the University of New Hampshire baseball team. And ever since then, we've been really, really good friends. We've traveled together. He moved out to California. I visited him. When I moved to Germany, he visited me. And you haven't visited me in Switzerland yet.
Not yet.
But
do you remember your first encounter with me? And do you remember like the first memory you have of meeting me? I was trying to think of that, you know, when we were getting started. And the first memory, there's two that come to mind. One is you were buying like me and Story beer, I think, because you were over 21 at the time.
Dude, don't mention that.
We can mention that.
That never happened. I don't.
But the other time is we were driving home from a game. We were either going to a game or coming home from a game. And someone said, tell the pumpkin story. I don't know if you have a story about that involved a pumpkin.
Yeah.
You do. So I don't remember the story, but I remember you telling the story, and the way you told it, you were a very animated person. And you tell amazing stories, and that's what kind of like, you know, linked me to you. I'm like, I want to be around this guy. I want to hear more stories. I want to be involved in this. And I don't remember the story. Is it a story that you can repeat?
I mean, it's a story that it needs to be seen and heard. So it's not really a podcast story, but
bad radio story.
Going back to my first memories of you. I mean, you played on the football team. You were briefly in a fraternity. You were definitely like. Everybody knew who you were, and I was kind of like, oh, who's this guy? Everybody knows who he is. And you were also really good at baseball and you're athletic, so I kind of saw you as like the cool guy who everybody knew, who was athletic and, you know, sociable, and yeah, I was like, this guy's the man. So
yeah, I latched on to you for sure. I have an older brother, but you always were that like older brother mentality, that like not guardian, but that, you know,
showing you
that figure, the older brother figure in my life. Yeah, taking me under your wing. We just kind of hit it off, like we.
Yeah, absolutely. So in this trip in Croatia, just to give you a little background, I'm a teacher, so I have 7 weeks holiday. The whole summer I am spending in Croatia. I'm meeting up with 5 different friends. 2 of them I've already met up with. TK is the third. And he just got here yesterday, and like you said earlier, we've been talking about doing a podcast for a long time. So this morning we were like, okay, let's just do it. You know, it might be a little bit messy. We don't really know what we're going to talk about, but let's just jump in, do this, see what happens, and yeah, here we are. So
trying to swim before we can float.
Yeah.
We put in. I don't know if we. My name's Ryan, and people call me TK. I don't know if we've
establish that.
Yeah, we're gonna go back and forth, Ryan and TK. It's probably gonna be
Exactly.
confusing, but we'll figure it out.
And so we're currently in Split. Tomorrow we go to the island of Brach, and then from there we go to the island of Hvar, and then back to Split. So we'll be island
then to
hopping a little
Kirka.
bit. Yeah, we're gonna go to the national park, Kirka Waterfalls.
Some waterfalls, yep. And then I fly out. I go back to Moscow, and then from Moscow to San Diego, back to America.
And I'll continue on and meet up with a couple other buddies up north in the Istrian Peninsula of Croatia.
We'll have to record sometime when we FaceTime. I know there's a way to record audio when we FaceTime, when we talk.
Yeah, well, I mean,
We're not
the
together.
thing about podcasts is, I mean, actually being here with you face to face and being able to have a conversation with you, like, right here and now, so much easier than talking, like, over the phone or via, you know.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons we haven't done this and we've talked about it is because
We were never
we've
face-to-face.
never actually been face to face together to be like, all right, let's just try it.
Right.
So we're 6 minutes in, and I'm already like struggling with what to say. Like this podcasting is.
Yeah, we had some topics to go. We had like three topics, and we wanted to keep it kind of short. But once it translates weird when you're actually recording. You think you're gonna fill it up longer than you actually do.
So I guess the last thing that we can just kind of talk about is some of the content creation that we're going to be working on today.
Yes,
I've
yes.
recently been making some travel skill videos and just trying to share what's going on in my life via some. It started as a YouTube channel. I've kind of moved over mostly to Instagram. But it started really with a free hugs video that I did in Zagreb, and we were thinking about doing a free hugs video here in Split, so I think we're going to be doing that later today, and as well as continuing with some of the social skill, travel skill videos that I've been making. But it seems like today we might be making a lot of content, so this content probably won't all be released today, but it'll be trickling out over the days to come.
Did you say like why you started in these content creation videos, or like where it came about? What gave you the idea?
Basically, enough people told me, "Hey, you should do something with this." Like I meet enough people and I talk to enough people, and you know, I share stories with enough people that I kind of started getting permission from other people. Hey, what you're sharing is really interesting. People would want to hear this. You know, when I'm the guy that knows everyone in the hostel because I've said hello to everybody and kind of connected with everybody, people, you know, notice that and kind of acknowledge the fact that I'm a really social guy and I'm good at making connections with people. And I was just kind of thinking, what can I do with that? And, you know, getting over that initial hump of just making that first video. Actually, the first video I made, I didn't release. No one has really seen that video except for one or two people that I shared it with.
What's on the video?
It's me basically just trying to just talk about what was going on in my life at the time. I mean, I think one of the reasons I didn't share it is I was sharing some really personal stuff, and it was like the first video I ever made, so it was like being super vulnerable and really putting myself out there. And as like a first step, I almost thought that maybe that was too much because, you know, when you do put videos out, it's, you know, it's scary, and you do have a lot of, you know, am I worthy of this? Am I allowed to share? What are people going to think? And, you know, as much as you'd like to think, oh, I don't care what other people think, I'm just going to do me. I mean, at least some part of you definitely feels that judgment or definitely feels that fear or, you know, unworthiness of being able to share this. So I think the biggest hurdle was just doing it, getting out there and putting a camera in my face and just making the video. And then the next day when I made the hugs video, that kind of, I talked about other people giving me permission. I kind of gave myself the permission to, you know what, this is a cool message. This was a really fun experience. I think people would really like this. And the first video, that hugs video that I put on my YouTube channel, it was like 20 minutes long. I'd never really made a video. I just used all the footage. And one thing I've found through this content creation is the more you you make a ton of mistakes, and from those mistakes you learn from them. So I've been doing this for like, a week, maybe 10 days or so now, and every single day, I get feedback from other people, or I realize something's working or something's not working, and every time I take a step forward, the next step kind of reveals itself, and it's been really, really fun. Obviously, I'm still really early on this journey, but the fact that we're making a podcast now, and that's something that we've talked about doing, and I think it just comes down to you just have to take action. Like yesterday, you mentioned, hey man, let's do the podcast, and I was like, okay, if you want to do it, let's take an action right now that will take us one step closer to do it. Start writing some ideas down. Okay, make a plan. Tomorrow we are going to do the podcast. And then waking up today, just,
hitting play and just getting the words out there. And
yeah, I mean, when we sat down for this, we had written 3 lines on a piece of paper, and we came back to
this trip,
to
our
the
relationship, and where we are right now.
Yeah, and just hit play. Let's go. Let's do it.
And yeah, since we've come pretty much this trip, our relationship, where we are right now, we've come back to the reason why we even started this podcast is just because your personal growth, your content creation videos is just the idea. We've had this idea to create the podcast like way back in the day, and now once you started creating these content creation videos and the free hugs and split, it's just another reason why we wanted to start this. So we've pretty much come full circle.
Let's do it. Okay, well, I think that's a good stopping place.
Yeah, we're gonna keep releasing these videos, trickle out. We'll see how. I mean, we don't really have like a hard stop to time it. We're just kind of figuring it out as we go. So, I guess you're gonna come along with us.
But if you've stuck around until the end, thank you for listening. We love you, and stick around. See what else comes out.
One love.